Welcome to Week 2 of Steamers Weekly. I'm Austin Weaver.
And I'm Chris Lehman.
Last week, the Steamers had a record of 4-1, and in the last 10 games have a record of 9-1, which has them sitting atop the leaderboard tied with the Peninsula Pilots. First, let's talk about the impact that the MLB draft had on the Steamers roster.
Well, the Steamers roster lost two big players to the MLB draft in pitcher and first baseman Aaron Cox and in third baseman Hunter Newman. Both guys, as I said, could bat and hit well. They were both batting over 300 before they left. They were both contributing in the lineup. And Aaron Cox was also in the starting rotation for the Steamers pitching staff. So losing him there, where he made two solid outings for the Steamers, was a little bit of a big deal. But the good news is that the Steamers have had guys step in and take their place, and they really haven't missed a beat. Matt Festa stepped in for Aaron Cox on the mound, pitched a solid outing against the Petersburg Generals in Game 2 of the doubleheader on Friday, and Chad Seddio has stepped back in, going 8 for 17 with 7 RBI and a home run, picking up exactly where he left off before he was injured. So the Steamers really in a good place right now. You don't want to lose anybody, but if you do, you want to have guys like the Steamers do who have been able to step in and fill the shoes.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's so many guys on this team that could start and play for any team in this league, that because of how deep our roster is, they've been sitting on the bench for the first 10 games or so of the season. And now they're getting the chance to step in and show just how deep we are roster-wise. You talked a little bit about Chad Seddio and his return from injury. He sat out a couple games after cutting his knee in batting practice, and he's currently batting .462 with 5 home runs and 16 RBIs. That's absolutely incredible that he's batting, almost 50% this far into the season.
Oh yeah, and he's leading the Coastal Plain League in most of those categories. Batting average, slugging percentage up around .923. He is producing every time he steps to the plate. He went 3 for 6 against Morehead City on Saturday night, which is absolutely incredible. An excellent job by him and by the rest of this team, because everyone was producing in that game. And that's something that we've seen down the order for the Steamers. They have one of the most balanced batting lineups in the league. There's really no break for any opposing pitcher. They have to be able to be on their game every time, or eventually they're going to slip up and the Steamers will make them pay. Just as a note, 7 of the 9 batters in the Steamers lineup going into the game against Morehead City had hit home runs. So everyone can hit power ball, everyone can hit the long ball, but they're also good at being very patient. That's why you see the Steamers leading the league in batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, just about every major offensive category. They're good at finding the hits, and when they have the opportunities, they'll hit home runs as well.
And let's continue to talk about some of the bats. The Steamers have added 2 bats, I guess not in the last week, but after the NCAA regionals, we added Chance Shepard of NC State and Nick McGuire of Columbia. And just some quick stats on those two. Shepard's come in his first 7 games, has hit 3 home runs and has 12 RBIs. McGuire has come in and has played 6 full games and made an at-bat in a 7th game. He has 1 home run and 5 RBIs. So between these 2 guys coming in, we have 4 home runs and 17 RBIs. Talk about the addition of their bats to this team and what it means going forward.
Well, Chance Shepard has really been the big impact. Nick McGuire has come in and given the Steamers an extra infielder, which was big, especially since Aaron Cox is gone now. But Chance Shepard behind the plate has done an excellent job, as we'll talk about in a little bit, with Zach Prendergast. The perfect game behind the plate was Chance Shepard. He's the one calling the pitches, so he did an excellent job there. But more importantly, at the plate, he's done a great job. He's in the middle of the lineup for the Steamers, keeps the rallies rolling when they're there. I mean, he had 6 RBI against the Peninsula Pilots, and you talk about a good team. The Steamers tied with them at 12-3 right now. The next closest team, I believe, is sitting at 7-7 in the standings. So the Steamers and the Pilots running away with it, but the Steamers producing against everybody. There's no break in their schedule.
You kind of mentioned the Zach Prendergast nearly perfect game, and if you were not at Hicks Field last week, you missed a gem of a game. Zach Prendergast had 2 outs in the 9th inning and was still perfect, but unfortunately a Peninsula pinch hitter came in and hit a home run to break up the perfect game. Just talk about what you think Zach did well and kind of your outlook on just watching a game and a pitcher go 8 2/3, perfect.
Well, the first emotion that you feel after that home run is disappointment because everyone wants to see a perfect game. But as you get farther away, that game just looks more and more impressive from Prendergast. I was able to talk to pitching coach Ryan Moore, and he said after watching about 3 pitches in warmups, he said, this guy has it tonight. He's going to have a good game, and he went out and had an excellent game. Only thing is, if you want a perfect game, you can't make a mistake. He made one mistake, left a curveball a little bit high, and it got knocked out of the park by C.J. Needham. But you look at how he's done this season. He went 6 innings in his first start, and then the complete game. Still the only pitcher to complete a full game in the CPL this season for Zach Prendergast, and he's doing an excellent job keeping them off the base pass. You can't ask for anything else.
Yeah. Well, this week is a busy, busy week for the Steamers. 7 games in 7 days, including 4 home games. The games start tonight as the Steamers travel to Peninsula and take on the Pilots in yet another battle for first place. And then they return home for the next 2 nights where we play Gastonia, and that will be Teacher Appreciation Night. And then after that will be Peninsula. And then after that homestand, we travel to Morehead City again. And then we come back home and we have another back-to-back homestand where Holly Springs will come to town, and that will be Princesses on Admission. And there will be a jersey auction after that game that supports the Princesses on Admission Foundation. And then Saturday night will be at home against Morehead City, and it will be baseball on the beach. So make sure to wear your bathing suits and be ready to have a good time at Hicks Field. And then Sunday, we have our first Sunday game as we travel to Fayetteville and take on the Swamp Dogs. That'll do it for this week on Steamers Weekly. Tune in next week, and we hope to see you out at Hicks Field.